The alarm didn't just ring. It stabbed through the dark like an accusation. 5:47 a.m. I swung my legs over the side of the bed and just sat there. The room was cold. I want to be honest with you right now. This isn't some polished sermon from someone who has it all figured out. This is me, sitting in the dark at 5:47 in the morning, admitting that some days I don't know how to do this. Maybe you know that weight. Maybe you felt it this morning before your feet touched the floor. But here's where the story takes a turn I didn't expect. I got in my car. Drove to work. And when I pulled into the parking lot, I couldn't open the door. I just sat there. Hands gripping the steering wheel at 10 and 2 like I was bracing for impact. I looked at my reflection in the rearview mirror and saw someone who was exhausted in ways sleep could never fix. And I wondered, is this it? Is this what adult life is? Just surviving from one parking lot to the next? That moment, sitting in a cold car, hands frozen on the wheel, watching other people walk past like they had it all together, that was my mirror. And maybe it's yours too. Because I think most of us have a parking lot somewhere. A place where we pause before the performance begins. A moment where we're alone with the truth we can't tell anyone else, I'm not okay. And I don't know how to become okay. I used to think peace was a destination. You know, that magical point in the future when all the problems are solved, all the bills are paid, all the relationships are healed, all the emails are answered, and you finally get to exhale. Peace was at the end of the to-do list. Peace was a reward for finishing everything. But that morning, sitting in that parking lot, I realized something that rearranged my entire understanding of God. I had it completely backwards. There's this verse in the Gospel of John, chapter 14. Jesus is talking to his disciples on the night before he's about to be arrested and killed. Let that sink in. He's not speaking from a beach resort. He's not speaking after the resurrection when everything is resolved. He's speaking on the darkest night of his life, knowing what's coming. And he says, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives." Stop right there. Jesus draws a line between two kinds of peace. The world's peace and his peace. And they operate on completely different rules. The world's peace is conditional. It depends on circumstances lining up. It says, you can have peace when the diagnosis comes back clear. You can have peace when the bank account has enough zeros. You can have peace when your kids are making good choices. You can have peace when your reputation is intact. You can have peace when the future looks secure. The world's peace is always waiting for something external to change. It's a peace that can be stolen by a single phone call, a single email, a single piece of bad news. But Jesus says, I do not give to you as the world gives. His peace doesn't wait for the storm to end. His peace exists inside the storm. His peace doesn't require all the problems to be solved first. His peace sits with you in the parking lot at 7:52 in the morning when everything is still a mess. His peace is not the absence of conflict, it's the presence of someone who has already overcome every conflict you will ever face. I used to confuse the two. I thought if I felt anxious, it meant I didn't have enough faith. I thought if I was struggling, I must be doing something wrong spiritually. I thought peace was a feeling I had to manufacture by praying hard enough or quoting enough scripture or trying to control every outcome. And when the peace didn't come, I added guilt to my anxiety. Now I was stressed and spiritually failing. Double weight. But Jesus never said, figure it all out, and then I'll give you peace. He said, receive my peace. Right now. In the middle of it. Before anything changes. That's the scandal of the gospel. God doesn't wait for you to clean up your life before he offers you rest. He doesn't wait for you to resolve every problem before he gives you peace. He walks into the chaos and says, I'm here. And I'm not leaving. And my presence is your peace. Here's the memorable truth I'm holding on to. and I hope you'll carry it with you today. Peace is not waiting at the end of the road. Peace is the one walking beside you on the road. You don't have to reach the destination to experience it. You don't have to solve everything first. You don't have to become a better, stronger, more spiritual version of yourself. You just have to turn your attention to the one who was already in the car with you, already in the meeting with you, already in the conversation with you, already in the uncertainty with you. That morning, I didn't pray a fancy prayer. I just sat there in the silence and whispered, Jesus, I don't have what today is asking of me. But you said your peace is different. So I'm asking for that peace. Not the world's version. Yours. And something shifted. Not the circumstances. The emails were still waiting. The meeting still happened. The financial pressure didn't magically disappear. But I walked through those glass doors carrying something that wasn't my own strength. It was a quiet anchor in my chest. A still point in the spinning chaos. So here's what I need you to hear. If you're in the parking lot right now, literally or metaphorically, if you're gripping the wheel and staring at the clock and dreading what comes next, you are not failing. You're not weak. You're not forgotten. You're just human. And Jesus knows what it's like to face an overwhelming day. He faced his own darkest night with peace in his heart because he knew the Father was with him. That same peace is available to you. Not after you fix everything. Right now. In the mess. In the uncertainty. In the not enoughness. But here's the question that leads us forward. Because I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, that sounds beautiful, but how? How do I actually let go of the weight when every instinct in my body is screaming at me to hold on tighter, to worry harder, to control more? How do I release my grip when my knuckles are white and my heart is racing and everything in me believes that if I stop worrying, everything will fall apart? That's what we need to talk about next. It was 3 a.m. and I was sitting at the kitchen table with the laptop open, the screen glowing pale blue across my face, and the house so quiet I could hear the refrigerator humming like it was judging me. I pulled up the bank account. The number stared back at me, smaller than I remembered. Smaller than I needed it to be. I whispered it out loud. Not a polished prayer. Not a declaration. Just the raw, unfiltered question that had been crouching in the corner of my heart for weeks. God, do you see me? Do you actually hear me? Because I've been praying. I've been trusting. I've been doing all the things I'm supposed to do. And I'm still sitting here at 3 a.m. staring at a number that isn't enough. There it is. The moment you don't post on social media. The prayer you don't turn into a testimony. The doubt you're afraid to admit because somewhere along the way someone taught you that real Christians don't ask those questions. Let me take you somewhere. I want you to see this because I think you've been there and nobody ever talked about it. Picture a hospital room at 2 a.m. The lights are dimmed. The machines are beeping their quiet rhythm. And there's a mother sitting in a plastic chair that was never designed for human comfort, watching her child sleep on that narrow bed with the rails up. And she's doing math in her head. The math of insurance deductibles and copays and how many sick days she has left and what happens if they run out. She's calculating how much strength she has for tomorrow when today already drained everything she had. And she's smiling when the nurses come in. She's saying we're doing okay when the doctor asks. But inside? Inside she's shattering into 1,000 pieces and holding them together with nothing but sheer will and the desperate hope that God hasn't forgotten her address. That's the mirror moment. Don't look away. I need you to see yourself in that chair. Because that mother, that father, that person sitting in the dark with cold coffee and a calculator in their head, that's you. That's me. That's every person who has ever tried to be strong when they were running on empty. And the church sometimes doesn't know what to do with us. We come in on Sunday and someone says, "How are you?" and we say blessed because we know that's the right answer. But blessed doesn't feel true at 2 in the morning when the numbers don't add up and the healing hasn't come and the breakthrough is still somewhere out there in the future where we can't reach it. Here's what I'm discovering, and I'm still in the middle of learning it, so don't think I'm standing on some mountain of victory giving you a sermon. I'm in the valley with you. But there's a verse that keeps finding me. It's from the prophet Isaiah, and it was written for people who were exhausted. People who had been waiting so long they forgot what they were waiting for. People whose strength had evaporated like morning fog. Isaiah says that even young people get tired. Even the strong ones stumble. Even the ones who look like they have it all together, they fall. But then he says this, those who wait on the Lord will renew their strength. They'll rise up on wings like eagles. They'll run and not grow weary. They'll walk and not faint. Now I used to read that and think waiting meant sitting still. Being passive. Doing nothing while hoping God shows up like a cosmic Amazon delivery with exactly what I ordered. But that's not what the Hebrew word means. The word for wait there is kava. And it doesn't mean passive waiting. It means to bind together. To twist like strands into a rope. To actively attach yourself to something. Waiting on the Lord isn't folding your hands and staring at the ceiling. It's waking up every morning and deliberately, intentionally, sometimes desperately tying your fragile little thread of hope to the unshakable character of God and saying, I don't have strength for today. But I'm attached to the one who does. That changed everything for me. Because I had been waiting for God to fix the bank account. Fix the health crisis. Fix the relationship. Fix the anxiety. And he wasn't doing it on my timeline. So I thought he wasn't doing anything. But the renewal he was offering wasn't the renewal of my circumstances. It was the renewal of my strength. My capacity. My ability to keep breathing and keep loving and keep showing up even when nothing looked different. Here's the turning point. The big shift in the whole video. Are you ready for this? It's not flashy. It might even disappoint you at first. But stay with me. I realized that the strength God gives is not the strength to solve all your problems in one day. It's not the adrenaline rush of a miracle that erases every difficulty. It's the strength to stand up. To take one small step. To breathe one more breath. To love your family when you're running on fumes. To be kind to the cashier when your own heart is breaking. To whisper I trust you when every feeling in your body is screaming this isn't working. Divine renewal is not euphoria. Let me say that again because someone needs to hear it. Divine renewal is not euphoria. It's not the emotional high of a worship service. It's not the goosebumps. It's not the tears. Those things are beautiful, but they're not the substance. The substance is a deep, quiet, inexplicable peace that settles into your bones and says, you can keep going. Not because you're strong, but because I am strong in you. It's the anchor that holds when the storm hasn't stopped. It's the still point in the chaos. I stopped asking God to give me the strength to finish the whole marathon. Instead, I started asking for the strength to take the next step. And then the next one. And then the one after that. And somewhere in the middle of all those small steps, I realized I was still walking. I hadn't collapsed. I hadn't quit. The enemy had told me I was failing because I wasn't sprinting. But God was teaching me that walking is still forward motion. Walking is still faith. Walking is still victory when every step is powered by His Spirit and not my own depleted reserves. So here's the memorable truth I want you to carry. Write it down. Put it on your mirror. Tattoo it on your heart if you need to. You don't need to have all the answers by 6 in the morning. You don't need to have the 5-year plan figured out. And I'm going to be real with you. It felt stupid. It felt like I was performing in an empty theater. My own voice sounded foreign, like someone else was speaking through me and I didn't quite trust them. There was no lightning. No warm sensation washing over my body. No sudden clarity about the bank account or the relationship or the diagnosis. Just me, standing in my bedroom at 6:03 in the morning, hand on my chest, feeling slightly ridiculous and slightly exposed. But here's what I didn't expect. Something shifted. Not in my circumstances, those were still a mess. But something shifted in the atmosphere of my soul. It wasn't euphoria. It wasn't the emotional high of a worship set. It was quieter than that. Deeper. It felt like dropping an anchor in water so deep you can't see the bottom, but suddenly you stop drifting. You're still in the water. The waves are still there. But you're not being carried away anymore. That's when I understood something I'd missed for years. The morning isn't a magic formula that erases your problems. The morning is a decision. A deliberate, intentional, sometimes desperate act of defiance against the narrative that says your life is falling apart. When you open your mouth and speak peace over yourself before the day has a chance to speak chaos, you are not manipulating God into action. You are positioning your own heart to receive what He has already promised. Let me pray with you right now. Not a polished prayer from someone who has it all together. This is me, sitting next to you in spirit. Maybe you're in your car right now, maybe you're still under the covers, maybe you're on your lunch break hiding in the bathroom just to get 5 minutes alone. Wherever you are, let's just pause. Father in heaven, I come before you with all of it. The exhaustion I've been pretending I don't feel. The anxiety that wakes me up at 3 a.m. and runs through every worst-case scenario like a movie I can't turn off. The disappointment I've been carrying so long it feels like part of my identity now. I'm not hiding any of it from you. You saw the tears in the dark, the bills sitting on the counter I haven't opened yet, the phone calls I'm terrified to make, the conversations I keep rehearsing in my head but can't seem to actually have. Today, I surrender all of it. Not because I'm good at surrendering. Not because I've figured out how to let go. But because I'm too tired to keep carrying what you never asked me to carry. I'm not asking for a day without difficulty. I'm asking for your presence in every difficulty. I'm not asking for the mountain to disappear. I'm asking for the strength to keep climbing, even when my legs are shaking and my lungs are burning and every part of me wants to sit down and quit. In the name of Jesus, I command peace to settle over my mind. Not a peace that depends on everything going right. Not a peace that crumbles the moment bad news comes. But the peace that surpasses understanding, the kind that doesn't make sense on paper, the kind that holds steady when the storm hasn't stopped. I declare that fear does not get to run this day. Fear doesn't get to write the story. Fear doesn't get the final word over my family, my health, my finances, my future. I declare that your strength is sufficient for me, especially in the moments when I feel weakest, most inadequate, most ready to give up. And I want to pause here because someone needs to hear this. This is not a magic incantation. Repeating these words like a spell won't change anything if your heart isn't in it. But when you speak these things as an act of faith, when you choose to believe before you feel it, when you choose to stand before you see the breakthrough, when you choose peace before the anxiety releases its grip, that is not wishful thinking. That is spiritual warfare. That is the weapon of declaration, and it is powerful. Do you remember the parking lot? I told you about those mornings sitting in my car at 7:52, gripping the steering wheel, watching the second hand on the clock sweep away the last moments before I had to walk into that building. I used to sit there and count my reasons to be afraid. I'd run through the list of everything that could go wrong, everyone who might disappoint me, every way I might fail. And then I'd open the door and walk in already defeated. But this morning was different. I opened the car door, and I stepped out, and I realized something that rewired my entire understanding of what it means to follow Jesus through hard seasons. I didn't step out because I had all the answers. I didn't step out because the situation had changed. I stepped out because I knew deep in my bones, that I was not stepping out alone. And neither are you. Maybe today you'll still get that frustrating email. Maybe you'll still have that hard conversation. Maybe you'll still face the moment where you want to throw your hands up and say, "I'm done, I can't do this anymore." But you will not face any of it alone. The God who holds the universe together is the same God who walks with you into that meeting, into that hospital room, into that broken relationship, into that season of waiting that is stretched on so long you've stopped believing anything will ever change. So let me leave you with this. This is the truth I want you to carry into your day, into your week, into every morning when the alarm goes off and you don't know how you're going to get through the next 12 hours. The morning doesn't change your circumstances. The morning changes your heart. And from a heart that has been renewed, from a heart that has been anchored in the presence of God before the world had a chance to sink its hooks in, that is where circumstances begin to shift. Not always instantly. Not always dramatically. But truly. Deeply. In ways you might not see for months or years, but one day you'll look back and realize you're standing on solid ground that used to feel like quicksand. May the Lord bless you and keep you today. May His face shine upon you in the fluorescent lights of your office, in the chaos of your kitchen, in the silence of your car, in the uncertainty of your waiting. May He give you peace that doesn't make sense and strength you can't explain. And may you walk into this day knowing, truly knowing, that you do not walk alone. Amen.